Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Today we're doing the Arabic class and the subject is the Modaf or Modaf Ilyh, which is one noun specifying another noun. So in English we say X of Y or Y is X. X and Y are the two nouns. So when we say Muhammad's car or the car of Muhammad, for example, here the structure in the English language could work both ways. Could be the book of the boy or the boy's book. It can work both ways. So, but in Arabic, it's only one form. It's like Kitabul Walad, the book, the boy's book, or the book of the boy. Okay? Basically, the boy, and also there is an adjective specifying a noun construct structure that we will be learning later. But right now, the Modaf Ilyh. The Modaf describes and the Modaf Ilyh specifies the Modaf. The noun is being described as Modaf. And the second one, Modaf Ilyh, specifies the Modaf. So this one is a book by itself. This word by itself is a book, like this, like book by itself. Okay? But we want to, book is a generic thing. There are tons of books. We want to specify the book, so we add the boys. So now we say the book of the boy or the boy's book. So the first noun is qualifying the second noun. So here the boy is al-walad. Boy, walad. The boy, al-walad. And this is kitabu, book. Okay? So the default here for the default case for the Modaf, which is the first noun, is to be marfu'. Marfu' means dhamma in this particular situation. How do we know that? Because this is kitab is a noun. So we go up here and we say, okay, kitab is a single noun. Book, kitab is a single noun. So it falls here. Male or female doesn't matter. Sarf is allowed, then it's dhamma. If it's forbidden, it's dhamma. So we don't even have to worry about checking the sarf, because allowed or forbidden, it's dhamma. Okay? Okay. So, but the second noun, or Modaf Ilyh, the second noun, this second noun has to be majroor all the time. There is no other possibility other than majroor. So it's always majroor all the time. Okay? There is no other possibility than majroor. And majroor is kasra, fatha, ya, kasra. Depends on what kind of noun we're talking about. What's the gender and what's the count. Okay? So this is an example. The book of the boy. Okay? Now, I can also say the book of a boy, versus a book of a girl. So a book of a boy, any boy. Okay? So in this case, you notice that once the alif lam are removed, okay, then I can add tanween. Then I should add tanween. Once the alif lam is removed, I should add tanween, unless the word boy is forbidden from sarf. Because sarf is forbidden. But if we go back to check the rules of sarf, we have here, if we check the rules of sarf here, okay, it doesn't fall, the word boy doesn't fall under any of those cases. So it means that sarf is allowed. Okay, so sarf is allowed So we do tanween. Because sarf is allowed, we do tanween. Okay? Okay. Now, another example. A car, this is a car. By itself is a car, but we want to specify it, qualify it or specify it. Then I say Mohamed. So the first noun specifies the second noun. Okay? The Modaf specifies the Modaf Ilyh. The second noun is the second noun qualifies the first noun. Okay, so for example, here, the car, it's any car, but to make it specific, we're saying it's for Mohammed. Okay, and Mohammed, sarf is not forbidden. So that's why we have tanween on the bottom. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Okay, so that's why we have tanween here. We have tanween here because sarf is not forbidden for Mohammed. Sarf is allowed. Okay, so, and there's no alif lam. So keep that rule in your mind. If there is alif lam, there will be no tanween. Period. Tanween and alif lam cannot be both exist on one word. So alif lam, no tanween. Without alif lam, there is a tanween if sarf is allowed. Okay? So same here with Muhammad. It's a tanween because sarf is allowed. Okay? And this one here, bent, is just bent. So so sarf here is sarf here is allowed. Okay, and here sarf is allowed, and because we have tanween, we don't have the, we have alif lam, we don't have tanween. Okay, so these examples are clear. Okay, let's jump to another set of examples, which is the soccer player. The soccer player using all possible 6 cases: 1 male, 1 female, 2 male, 2 female, 3 plus male, 3 plus female. Okay, what we have here is that we want to just teach one rule in here, and that rule is okay, and that rule is the noun has to be removed only in 2M, 2F, 3 plus M. In these 3 scenarios, the noun must be removed. Okay, so if you say لاعبان الكرة, that wouldn't be appropriate Arabic, because the appropriate Arabic is لاعبة الكرة. Okay, لاعب, player, كرة, ball or soccer. Okay, so this rule we also have it in mind, which is that noun is not allowed in the first noun. Is not allowed in the first noun. Okay, so whenever we see a noun, we remove it. Okay, these are the only 2 rules that we need to learn. Okay, now let's go over the nouns. So the Modaf, the second noun, Modaf Ilyh, the Modaf is the noun being described, and the Modaf Ilyh specifies the Modaf or qualifies the Modaf. The Modaf is not specific. It is made specific by the Modaf Ilyh. For example, the word book is a generic noun, but when we say the book of Muhammad or Muhammad's book, then we're specifying that this book is belong to Muhammad. The first noun is the Modaf, can't have tanween or alif lam, but can have kasra if sarf is allowed. The second noun must be majroor, no exception, and may have alif lam. It can also have a tanween or kasra if sarf is allowed. Okay, If the mudaf is dual or regular male plural, then the noun at the end is omitted, is removed, just like we show you in these examples. These are the rules of the game about the mudaf and mudaf ilayh, one noun qualifying or specifying another noun. This structure is very common. You know, you pretty much, you can't read one paragraph without seeing cases of two nouns, one specifying the other. So this structure is really very common in the Arabic language. So now let's move to the homework. Okay. The homework about this subject is here. And what I did here in this homework, I put a procedure to follow. Since we have numbers for everything, numbers for rules, numbers for rows and columns. If we go back here, you can see that, for example, this table, the rows are numbered, the columns are numbered. So I can come and say, according to rule 290, row 1, column 4, for example. Okay, so that's how we follow a procedure. It becomes like algorithm, sort of an algorithm. Okay, algorithm to be followed. Okay, so let's go back to the homework. Okay, the homework. So first of all, I'm specifying the rules that we will need to complete the first table, to complete these tables. And we would work on it together. So let's start with this example, which is the boy is built. The boy is built. Okay. Okay. The first noun, okay, default is marfu'. However, it can be mansub, it can be majroor. So how do we decide that? Depends on the position of the structure in the sentence. The first noun, okay, will depend on that. And there are three possibilities. There is always three possibilities: marfu', mansub, majroor. Marfu', mansub, majroor, which you can find here. Cases: marfu', mansub, majroor. It has to be one of those three cases. Okay, so in order to practice that, I've put the three cases here so that we know what to do. Okay, we look at the first noun. It's singular and it's generic, not specified. Okay, the second noun, generic here means not specified, not definite. It doesn't have alif lam because it's not allowed even to have an alif lam. And this noun cannot have an alif lam. Under no circumstances alif lam is allowed. So I have one noun and the second noun. Okay, so let's talk about the first noun. The first noun could be marfu', mansub, or majroor. Hizam is a belt. Okay, so let's follow the procedure. Procedure number 1 for the first noun. What do we do? Determine if sarf is allowed or forbidden using rule 280, 285. Okay. You might ask me, the mudaf can't have a tanween already. Yes, but we find out so that we decide if kasra is allowed or not. In other words, if we go back to the table here, you see that the marfu', mansub, majroor, okay? There are two different cases. One when sarf is allowed, one sarf is forbidden. So if sarf is allowed, then you can have a kasra. But if sarf is forbidden, you don't have a kasra. So that's why here in the rules, we go back here. We want to determine if sarf is allowed or not. So we're talking about the word hizam, which is belt. Okay, so I go to these rules and I determine, go back to these rules here. Okay, and I determine if sarf is allowed or not. Boy is not, sarf is not forbidden. It's not a name. It's not ending with alif noon. It's not starting with alif hamza or ending with alif hamza or both. It's not one of those sounds. Doesn't sound like mafa'il, doesn't sound like mafa'il, fa'a'il, doesn't sound any of those at all. Af'al, yuf'al, af'al, yaf'al. There's not one of those, like the name that can be used as a verb. Boy is a name, it's a noun that it's not going to be used as a verb. Okay? It's not driven from a form. In other words, it's not fu'al. Walad is not fu'al. Doesn't work. It's not the same. So this doesn't apply. It's not a foreign book, but it's not a foreign name because it's not a name at all. And it's not a compound name because it's not a name to start with. It's a noun, not a name. Okay. Okay, so we determined that built sarf is allowed. Okay, good. So sarf is allowed. So I go down here and they say, okay, sarf is allowed. So we do use, and it's a single walad. It's a noun, singular noun for male, but it doesn't matter. Sarf is allowed. Then I have these three cases. Marfu' dhamma, mansub, fatha, majroor, kasra. Okay, that's pretty much the majority of the single nouns. Majority of them is going to be dhamma for marfu', fatha for mansub, kasra for majroor. But you have the exception with sarf is forbidden, then it becomes dhamma for marfu', fatha for mansub, fatha for majroor. Okay? All right. So right now we determined it's dhamma, fatha, kasra. Okay? Dhamma, fatha, kasra. So we go back here to the work, to the homework, and we say, okay, we determined that the word boy, sarf is allowed. Okay. So it means that I can say hizamu for marfu', hizama for mansub, hizami for majroor. Okay? So dhamma, fatha, fat kasra. Okay? All right. So hizamu, hizama, hizami. We're clear about those. How about the second one, which is the boy, al-walad? Okay. This must be majroor all the time, according to these rules. Must be majroor all the time. So for the second noun, determine if sarf is allowed or forbidden. Okay. The second noun can have tanween and can have alif lam, but it's always majroor. Always majroor. Okay. So what is the second noun? It's we determined about the second noun. We determined that the second noun is already the boy. Okay, the second noun is sarf is allowed. However, because we have alif lam, we cannot have tanween. So, okay. So I confused both. So I hope if I confused you, to make this correction here. I was talking about hizam, which is built, single, marfu', mansub, majroor. So that is the case we're talking about here. Okay, مرفوع ضمة منصوب فتحة مجرور كسر. Okay, so I was talking here about the first noun, which is in this case حزام. الولد also صرف is صرف is not forbidden, means صرف is allowed. So صرف is allowed, but we have alif lam. So alif lam means that it cannot have tanween, but it can have kasra. Because if sarf is not allowed, then this one has to be a fatha, right? Otherwise, because if we go back, look at the table here, we said it majroor here, okay? Majroor is sarf is allowed, it's kasra. Sarf is not allowed, it's fatha. Okay, so kasra, majroor, kasra, fatha. Okay, so we go back here, you say, okay, this is majroor and must be always majroor. Then we cannot have tanween, but we can have kasra. So it's الولدي, الولدي, الولدي. It does not change. It does not change. Because it's always, the second noun is always majroor. So it's always majroor. Okay, then we do it again by حزامي حزام ولد. حزام ولد. Boy is built, and it's a boy, not any. We're not specifying the specific boy, but for a boy. It's like saying girls built, boys built. Okay. So here, حزام, which is built, is being specified by walad, which is saying that this belongs to a boy. The difference between here and here is that this is al-walad, the boy, this is walad, a boy. Okay? Now, we knew about sarf and everything from here. So the only difference would be that we can have tanween. Why? Because there is no alif lam. If there is alif lam, no tanween. No alif lam, tanween is possible if sarf is allowed. Okay? So that's just to show you the difference between both cases. Okay.
عفوا السلام عليكم كيفك دكتور علي؟
ورحمة الله وبركاته.
يا أنا أم الله طارق معلش أحكي معك بالبريك؟
Yes, okay.
Okay, رح أتصل فيك بالبريك between the classes.
Okay, I'll call you after the classes.
Okay, you call me. Yeah, okay, you call me. الله يعطيك العافية. مع السلامة.
So, okay, you got that part? Okay, let me explain the other example that I've given. So I have example here. Okay, here the reason you might say, why did you put question mark here? Okay, because it can be لاعبين or it can be لاعبين or لاعبون, because that's three, the players. It's like it says منزل, home, one male, I mean, it's a male word, and لاعبون, players. 3 plus M means plural. Okay? So this لاعبون is 3 plus M. If we go to the table here, to 3 plus M, which is right here, 3 plus M, regular. It could be wow or it could be ya. It's either wow or ya. Okay, so I would ask you to figure out which is wow or ya. For this reason, I did a question mark here. It's like, yes, I'm not going to tell you it's ya or wow. You figure it out. So that's the meaning of the question mark here. Same thing here. It means that I want you to figure it out. I'm not telling you whether it's لاعبين or لاعبون. لاعبين or لاعبون. I'm not going to tell you that. So I'm going to leave it like that. Question mark. Okay. Now, for dual nouns, صرف is not an issue at all. Not an issue at all. Okay. So basically, we are up to these two cases up here. So we're talking about either واو or ياء. مرفوع is واو. منصوب is ياء. مجرور is also ياء. Okay. So the possibility is واو or ياء. But we said that the second noun is always مجرور. Always مجرور. Then the right answer is ياء. The right answer is ياء. Okay. So when you go back here, you can see that what I did is that I answered it right. It's right here. It's ياء. And it's always مجرور, then it's always ياء. No question about it. So that second noun was easy. Okay? Okay. Figuring it out, it's the second noun. Now, the first noun, which is منزل, it's a house or a home. It's a male word. So what's the grammar for مرفوع, منصوب, or مجرور? There are three possibilities. Okay. The word منزل, it's one male. Okay. So we go there. It's one male. So we have two cases. If صرف is allowed, if صرف is not allowed. Home, go back to the صرف here issue. It's not case 1, it's not case 2, it's not case 3, it's not case 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's none of those. Home, just house. Okay, it's a noun that is not any of those. And most of nouns are like that. The exception is that صرف is forbidden. The norm صرف is allowed. Okay. So we just need to determine the صرف. So صرف is allowed. Therefore, it's ضمة for مرفوع, فتحة for منصوب, كسرة for مجرور. ضمة مرفوع, فتحة منصوب, كسرة مجرور. Okay. So we go back here to the homework. Then, okay, ضمة for مرفوع. Here is a ضمة. Here is a ضمة for مرفوع. And here is a فتحة for منصوب. And here is a كسرة for مجرور. Okay? These structures you need to learn when you read Arabic. You see like players of a home or the player's home or whatever. You need to be able to figure out that this is a noun, this is second noun, this for second nouns qualifying the first noun or specifying the first noun or made it specific. Okay. Okay. So that one was easy. So here, this is always majroor. Always majroor. So it's always kasra. But this one changes. This is, if it's marfu', مرفوع فتحة if منصوب كسرة if مجرور. Okay. Now you notice that turns into tanween when we remove the alif lam. Then tanween is possible. And since sarf is allowed, then tanween is possible. And this is here dhamma, fatha, kasra. So this is what the procedure basically explains. And the procedure takes an example. It says the boys built. It explains sarf is allowed, sarf is not allowed, tanween kasra is basically explaining what I'm just telling you right now. However, I put it in writing here so that you can just follow the procedure. It's an algorithm. I'm teaching you the regular cases in the Arabic language. I'm not. I try to stay away from irregulars as much as I can. Regular, it's an algorithm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 steps, just like an algorithm. You don't even have to get confused about anything because it's just like a flow chart, sort of. Okay, now. Okay, so let me work this case here with you. We're talking about two females, two players, two female players, the home of two female players, okay? Or players' home. Players here is 2F, and home is 1M, it's a male word. We dealt with it here. So I would cheat and just copy those down here. We already knew about these, already know that about that. So can just copy it there. Okay, all right. Now about two female, okay. You go back here. What's this? This one has to be majroor. Again, question mark, because I don't want to tell you it's yeah or wow. I want you to figure it out. Okay. So, okay, so that's for two female. The first noun is already done with. I dealt with it up here in this example. So we're talking now about the second noun. Okay, the second noun. The second noun, I don't want to tell you, is it ya or alif? Let's go here and figure it out. Okay, it's a dual. Doesn't matter what the gender is. It's marfu'. If it's marfu', then it's alif. If it's mansoob, then it's ya. If it's majroor, then it's ya. So I have two possibilities, alif and ya. But since we agreed on that the second noun is always majroor, then it's going to be the ya here, not the alif, because it's majroor. Okay. So we go back here, and then, okay, now I know it's ya, so I can just add the ya. So I can just add the ya here. This needs to get bigger so that I can see it. Adding the ya here. Ah, I just want this to be read by itself. I'll figure it out later. Okay. Okay. Now, let me see if I have more examples. Okay. Now let's work another example. Let's pick, for example, something that, okay, here we go. This is very nice example that I want to discuss. We're talking about the home again. So that will help me because I don't have to worry about the first noun. We've already done it many times. It's, we know, manzilu, manzila, manzili. Manzilu, because it's dhamma. Manzila, because it's fatha. Manzili, because it's kasra. So this one is done with. So what am I supposed to figure out then? I'm going to figure out for the second noun. What's the situation for the second noun? Okay, so that's 3 plus F, la'ibat, 3 plus F, plural, female plural. So female, regular plural, female. Majroor is kasra. And it's only one case. It's always majroor. Second noun is always majroor, all the time. So that's kasra. So now, knowing that, I know now that this mark here is going to be a kasra. So all I have to do is just copy this, paste it here, paste it here, paste it here. Okay. And then, okay, for this one, it is going to be, for this one, it is going to be, let's change the language here into Arabic. So the first one here is Dhamma. And this one here is Fatha. And this one here is Kasra. Okay? We know about that. We already discussed it. So now the second one we said Majroor. Then Majroor for 3 plus F. You go there, say. For 3 plus F, Majroor is Kasra. Kasra. Okay. All right. So go back here. Said Majroor is Kasra. So that is Kasra here. Kasra here. And Kasra here. You see? So this is how easy it is. And now I'm doing it with, now you might ask me and say, okay, can we have tanween? Yes, you can have tanween. So this one should have been tanween kasra. Oh, sorry. This should have been tanween kasra. Where is that? Yeah, here it is. And this one should have been tanween kasra. And this one should have been tanween kasra. Why tanween? The default is tanween unless you have alif lam. So then the only difference between this case here and this case is that here the players have alif lam. Here the players don't have alif lam. See, this one has alif lam. This one doesn't have alif lam. Therefore, tanween is not allowed. So I can just simply copy those and here, and they say tanween is not allowed. So why? Because we have alif lam. Tanween and alif lam cannot exist in one word at all. So the default is tanween unless I have alif lam that stops the tanween. So therefore this one has alif lam. Sorry. So this one has alif lam. Alif has, okay, this alif lam. Okay, so what is the rule then? Alif lam, then it's la'ibat has alif lam, then it'd be just the kasra. Kasra. It's always majroor, it's always kasra. But the question is, if you have alif lam, you would have you don't have tanween. But if you don't have alif lam, you can have tanween. You see, that's the only difference between both. Okay, let's pick. This is just a warm-up homework for the subject. Let's pick, yes, Americans' citizenship. Americans' citizenship or citizenship of America. American Arab is أمريكية. And then citizenship is الجنسية. So when we say أمريكية الجنسية, you might say, why did I pick this particular example? I said because أمريكية, okay, this noun أمريكية is forbidden, صرف is forbidden. Why? Because that's a foreign name. Go back here. We see that sarf is forbidden because it's a foreign name. Like Yusuf, Ibrahim, Fir'aun, Donald, Trump, any name, foreign name, sarf is forbidden. You can't have tanween or kasra, period. The only, for all prophets' names are sarf is forbidden, except 6 prophets. Sarf is allowed. Shu'aib, Muhammadun, Lutun, Hudun, Nuhun, Salihun. All these prophets, okay? So we go back here to see what's needed. not picking. This one needs to go away. Okay, so I'll copy this word here, put it here, and say, okay, what do I need to deal with? Two words, first noun, two nouns. The first noun is أمريكية. صرف is forbidden. Okay, so صرف is forbidden. I go here and say, okay, for a female or male, if صرف is forbidden, then it's ضمة for مرفوع, فتحة for منصوب, فتحة for مجرور, because كسرة is not allowed. Okay, كسرة is forbidden. If the صرف is forbidden, كسرة and تنوين are also forbidden. Okay, so it means that, okay, copy this 3 times. Okay, then we said مرفوع is ضمة. Where did it go? Okay, here it is. So مرفوع is ضمة. Okay, and منصوب is فتحة, and مجرور is فتحة. Now, how about the word الجنسية, citizenship? Okay, citizenship, it has alif lam, so without even thinking, there will be no tanween. But it's a single noun, okay? And it's a female word, classifies as a female word in Arabic, okay? جنسية, citizenship. So, why? Because it ends with ta marbuta. That's why we say it's a female word, but not in, it's a female noun, but it's not a name, okay? So, okay, so we go back to see for one female, what majroor would be for one female. We'll go back here, say, okay, for one female, it is, if sarfa is forbidden, then it's fatha. One female, fatha. Okay, so take it back, go back here. And then this becomes fatha. And no tanween because it has alif lam. And this tanween because it has alif lam. Okay, so that's fatha. Okay, okay. You guys have any questions before we take another example? Okay, good, no questions. Okay, so let's together pick a example together. Let's say المدرسة الإسلامية, Islamic school. So we say المدرسة الإسلامية. Okay, what's that font is? Okay, how do I figure out the tashkil? I can just copy those together like that and go start the mishkal. Go here, start the mishkal. Okay, and then copy this and say tashkil. So it's going to do tashkil for you. See? So you nicely copy those and put it here in our homework. Where's the homework? Oh, behind here. Okay. So I can just put it there. Okay. Okay. Now, they provide the here default case. So it's dhamma. That's the default case is marfu'. Marfu' is always the default case for the first noun. But it could be mansub or majroor. So here I need to account for these cases. So I say, okay. All right. Okay. So marfu' is dhamma. Yes. Okay. When I give you the problem, when I give you the question here, I'm going to remove this. Why? Because I want you to figure it out. Okay, so madrasa. المدرسة. It has ألف نام then no تنوين. Okay, but it's an ends with تاء مربوطة, so it's a female singular. It's a singular female. So we go back here. Okay, and we go see the singular female. Okay, صرف is allowed. Okay, singular female. So it is ضمة مرفوع. مرفوع ضمة. منصوب فتحة مجرور كسرة. So you go back here. What's wrong with this? Yeah, it's right there. So if I copy those like this and like that, I would be changing this to fatha. Fatha, and then change this one to kasra. Okay, so المدرسة مرفوع, المدرسة منصوب, المدرسة مجرور. Okay, now about the second one. The second one is always مجرور. Okay, so I go back here. I say Islamiyya is the singular. Islam as a word is a male word, singular male. Okay, so here it's a singular male. Islam. Sarf is allowed. There's nothing that makes Islam sarf is not allowed. That's by the way, most of the time sarf is allowed. This is like the exception. So, okay, so majroor is kasra. If sarf is allowed and it's a singular female word, then majroor is kasra. Okay, so that becomes then mishkal doesn't give you the grammar. You work out the grammar. Mishkal will just do the tashkil of everything that has nothing to do with grammar. Like the tashkil of every single letter here is built in, will never change. This is the way the word is written and it will never change. What will change is only the tashkil of the last word here because it's one female. So it is going to be kasra. So go here and say, okay, that is kasra here. Kasra here. And kasra here. So mishkal did not give you the grammar. So don't count on mishkal for the grammar. Okay? So when you see a problem like this, we can also write down here to make it a complete example, Islamic. Okay. And downsize this whole thing. Oh, what? I'm doing the opposite. Okay. Does anybody have any suggestions about another example that we want to try? You want to give me an English example that we can work it out together? Okay, I'll make my own example just for the purpose of make it crystal clear. Okay, now do we have room here? Yeah, we have room. So I can just copy this to here and make another table. And let's make the view to be web layout so that we don't have to worry about page breaks. Okay, let's make up something. Let's say weekend. Weekend means the end of the week. Okay, so let's say weekend, end of the week, say نهاية. Well, let's get it from English, from the translator. Why bother? Just get it from the translator. So we go to the translator and you say we want, what word we want? We want to know what Islamic, what weekend school, I'm sorry, what is weekend is. So we say here, weekend. It's not, there's a space in between, intentionally meant. It's not weekend, one word. I intended week, space, end. Two nouns, one qualifying the other. And you want to see what is it in Arabic. So in Arabic, it says عطلة نهاية الأسبوع because it's thinking about weekend, one word. Okay, so we're going to take just this part, which is, okay, I don't need the عطلة. عطلة means break, and I don't have a break here, like weekend. But I have نهاية الأسبوع, which is the end of the week. So to make it easy, say end of the week. Yes, here we go, نهاية الأسبوع. Okay, so I want to listen to it so that I can get right, تشكيل right.
نهاية الأسبوع.
نهاية الأسبوع. Okay, okay. So let's copy it here. I know it's نهاية الأسبوع. نهاية الأسبوع. So copy. Okay, and move to مشكال. Move to Mr. مشكال. Okay, تشكيل. Okay, I guess it gets stuck on the week. Okay. Yeah, got stuck, مشكال got stuck. So if مشكال gets stuck, then we just do one word. And before we do one word, before we even leave this, we can, الأسبوع. Yeah, I think it's not getting it because we didn't do Hamza. We probably should have put the Hamza here. Yeah. Shift. Hamza. So let me see now, is that going to help? No. I guess one of those stuck things. So probably I want to copy it and try another مشكال. مشكال. There is another مشكال that I use when this one fails. It's a software, it's an algorithm. There's another مشكال, I forgot where it is. Anyway, I don't want to waste the time of the class looking for it, but I guess the concept is clear here. I guess we skip this example then. Okay, so any questions? Skip this example. Any questions, guys? Okay, I'll see you next week, inshallah.